Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Matt Townsend Show. I am your host, Matt Townsend, your relationship coach, your guide on the side. That sounds pretty cool. We do what we can every day on this show to help you and your loved ones grow healthy, happy relationships long into the future. We also want to make sure your lives are healthy and happy as well. And we welcome you to the show today. We are going to be talking about just one I know you need. I mean, I can feel it. It's a big deal. Your friends are doing it. Your kids have done it. Your neighbors are doing it. Nobody's talking about it. You know what we're talking about? Yes, online dating. Online dating. Why is it such a weird thing? And for a guy my age, I feel like I'm old. For a 40-something-year-old, 43-year-old, online dating is weird. Online, pretty much anything is weird for my age. But you know what? Apparently, this is something that's catching on. This internet thing apparently is going to be around for a while. And so if the internet's going to be around for a while, apparently, let's start dating and using it to find the people we love. We're talking about online dating today and all sorts of the stigmas attached to it. Let's go talk about that.
Where did you meet this person?
On the internet.
Yeah, well, everybody's doing that now.
In this world of advancing technology and social media, it might feel like we're constantly on display. But 3% of Americans are using social media and other technology to meet romantic partners. What does this mean for the way we're communicating with other people? And how do these sites facilitate our interactions with those we might be interested in forming romantic relationships with?
I'm really looking for somebody I can feel special about, and I don't encounter people like that very often, and I'm hoping you're one of them.
Says a man dressed in a Viking suit. Does online dating make it easier for us to meet alike people? Is it oiling the cogs? Or does it provide a different set of roadblocks for us to overcome and meet that special someone? Either way, we're hearing more and more online dating success and horror stories, and the method is becoming more and more popular. We see it in TV shows, movies, internet advertisements, and there are various ways of going about it that have expanded in the last 20 years with growing technology. But are the advancing technologies making it difficult for us to manage these connections?
But it's not just texting, it's email, it's voicemail, it's snail mail.
That's regular mail.
Whatever, none of it's working. And now you just have to go around checking all these different portals just to get rejected by 7 different technologies. It's exhausting.
Do you remember the old days when you could get rejected by just a few technologies? Just somebody telling you to be quiet, or somebody sending you a letter in the mail, a Dear John letter, telling you they found somebody else while they're away at war. Those were the days. Aren't those good days? That was Corrine Collins reporting there, and she is our version of the BBC at Brigham Young University. We're going to be bringing her up to talk to her a little bit about online dating. But before we do, I wanted to get into some statistics. Who is out there actually doing the online dating thing? Well, how about, I don't know, millions of people? Right now, there is a total of about 54 million singles in the United States. These are statistics according to Reuters, Herald News, PC World, and the Washington Post. And a total number of people who have tried online dating would be 40 million of the 54 million, which we hope were singles. Apparently, some of them might not be single. That's another problem with the online dating. You've heard of eHarmony, Match.com. eHarmony has about 20 million subscribers or members. Match.com has about 15 million. All of these things add up to a total annual revenue from the online dating industry of $1 billion, roughly. And on average, the person that is online is spending $239 a year for their dating site. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And this is maybe why online dating sometimes gets a bad rap and sometimes a really good rap. The average length of courtship for marriages that met online, guess how much? Guess, I can't hear you. 18.5 months. So 18.5 months for the average length of time that a couple will date if they met online. The average length of courtship for marriages that met offline, 42 months. There is the issue. There's one of the big issues is apparently when we meet online, things move a lot faster. Don't know why. Probably because we're sitting there in the luxury of our bedroom, wearing our pajamas and our flip-flops and just kicking back, feeling so relaxed, having these open, profoundly, intense conversations with each other. But something expedites these online relationships, and today we're going to get into it, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of online dating. We're also going to look at some of the other numbers. Did you know that the online daters, the average percentage of male users higher than the female users? 52.4% of men of the audience are male, and 47.6% are female. Some other interesting stuff about the online dating. A lot of people are just not necessarily totally bought into it, right? They're not quite sure what they like about it. Some of the things that they did find in the study, though, is what was most important on the first date. Of everything that they were looking at, personality, 30%. Smile and looks, 23%. Sense of humor, 14%. And their career and education, 10%. Favorite hair color for the online surfers was blonde. But they're also literally every category from gray to bald to red. They like everyone. So everyone's still got a shot, at least online apparently. And some online dating facts. Men's biggest lie online. I know what mine would be. Not one of them. Age, height, and income. That's what men lie about. So if all of a sudden you go out with the person you found online and they're 6'8", but they said they're 6'8" and they're really like 4'11", surprise! And their height and their age and their income. For women, the biggest things they lie about, their weight, their physical build, and their age. Which is always a fun surprise when you're expecting a 30-something and you really get a 70-something. So online dating, we're going to give you a little quiz here. Again, online dating, I think it's here to stay, isn't it? And I don't think it has to have a bad rap. In fact, as I work with clients and couples that have been dating online, about 20% of people marrying right now, they say it can be attributed to online dating. So it's a new option. And these options of technology, they don't have to make us or break us. They're not good. They're not necessarily bad. They are what you make them. There are some dangers, however, right? And there's an interesting story that came out of Utah about a year ago of a woman here, a 39-year-old woman, who met a man online. And while she was dating him, she ended up, she just ended up being taken advantage of. She over time was swindled out of about $200,000 in money. And it was sad. She just really thought this guy liked her, and the guy kept asking for money, and he'd ask for amounts of money ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 to cover medical bills, to cover other business ventures, all these things. Over time, though, she lost $200,000. You'd think she would have gotten the idea that there was something going on that was a little weird when he started to he said he needed money because he'd been taken hostage and needed ransom money. Yet he's still able to get her emails, and he's still online. But a lot of times when you're taken hostage, they do hook you up and let you date online as well, just to keep your morale up. But she got swindled. And so those are the stories we hear about online daters. But you know what? It doesn't have to go that way. I can't tell you, in my own professional work, in working with couples as a relationship coach, we've had numerous couples find their love online. In fact, most of them even try to find them in their own state where they're living. And I've actually suggested that they broaden their horizon a little bit, date nationwide, and it's amazing how many great people there are out there. And you need to be super careful. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little quiz, okay? We call it the game show. It's a simple quiz, 4 simple questions if you should be dating online. Are you ready? Number 1, are you single or recently divorced? If you say yes, that's the right answer. If you say no or false, then that means you have to destroy a relationship to build a new one, and that means online dating is not for you. Number 2, do you have a desire to share your life with another person? Yes? Great. If not, if you live in a fortress of solitude, which could be defined as a dark castle that a villain might live in, you probably are not the candidate for online dating. If you only come out at night, and if you walk in the shadows, maybe online dating is the only place for you, quite honestly. Okay, kind of rude. Number 3, do you own a computer with internet access? Because if you don't, I probably wouldn't go with online dating. It's going to be super slow for you. If you don't allow that whiz-bang whippersnapper technology like computers and electric can openers into your house, you are not a candidate for online dating. I would probably just try the old-fashioned way. I would just meet somebody at the gym. And number 4, do you have a clean criminal record? Because if yes, you could be a very good candidate. Unless you are looking for money in $5,000 to $10,000 intervals, then you might also be a good catch online, but not a good catch for everybody. But if you have a couple parking tickets, that's okay. We're all human. It's awkward to begin conversations with, once I'm eligible for parole, or it's just an indictment. Get off my back. If you can't accept a man with an indictment, then maybe you're not... So sorry about that. Then you're probably not eligible for the online dating. Now, you may be eligible for other online opportunities, online scams, online bilking, illegal trades online, things like that. But I would probably keep the dating to yourself and just please stay away from all of our friends and neighbors who are dating online. We are going to be talking more about this. We're going to bring in 2 special guests from our very own studios, our own producers, with their own stories of online love, online dating, online surprise, shock and awe, they call it. And we're going to hear from them because maybe online dating has its advantages and maybe it doesn't. That's coming up next, folks, on The Matt Townsend Show right here on Sirius XM 143 BYU Radio. Welcome back, kiddos, to the Matt Townsend Show. We are talking about online dating, love fest through the Ethernet. I don't know if that's even real, but I just think that sounds cool. And the great benefits of online dating. It gets a bad rap, and I think it's time that some of us need to grow out of that. I think it just goes back to the old days that was such a weird idea. But, I mean, if you can have mail order brides, if you can have all of these other things that are out there, then you know what? Seriously, technology's not going away. If you can buy your car online, if you can buy your books online, if you can download everything, why couldn't you find somebody to date online? One of my greatest benefits, I guess, of online dating that I see with the clients I work with as I'm coaching is it's giving access to people that don't necessarily want to go hang out at bars, that don't necessarily, they work all day. They don't have time to do some of the other things you need to do, to join clubs, to join all these things. So it creates an avenue. And it's a pretty big avenue, right? There's millions and millions of people, 30 or 40 million right now, searching and dating online. And I think there's huge benefits to it. There's also the downside. But if you've ever seen the show Napoleon Dynamite, seriously, huge benefits, as Kip in the show found his one true love, LaFonda, and then he gave this beautiful rendition of his love song.
Yes, I love technology, but not as much as you see. But I still love technology, always and forever. Our love is like a flock of doves, flying up to heaven above, always and forever, always and forever. Yes, our love is truly great, always and
Getting a little emotional. Oh, wow. That gets me every time. That just gets me every time. I just can't stop crying. The love that Kip has for LaFonda. I love technology, but not as much as you see. Oh, our love is like a flock of doves. I'm telling you, technology is great. And if you understood the joy that Kip was brought because of technology, you wouldn't laugh. Now, that's not always the case, as we're going to go now to our BBC reporter. Actually, she's not our BBC reporter, so we probably ought not call her that, but I'm going to call her that. Her name is Corrine Collins. She is from Birmingham, England. She has an accent, and is incredibly talented and smart, and she has been with us for a full 2 days. And we're already throwing her on the microphone because we want to talk to her about online dating. Corrine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi.
Good to have you here. Do you love technology as much as Kip?
Maybe not as much as Kip, but it is useful.
Tell me why now let's just give you a little background, okay? You're 24.
24, yeah.
You're in Utah going to school.
Yep.
Grew up in Birmingham.
Yeah, in Birmingham,
England, and here you now sit. It's hard to find people maybe to date because you're always in school. You got very few people. I think you were telling me in your program there's 2 men.
Yeah, there's 2 men in my master's program. I'm doing English, so
out of 60.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 single men, so there's 3 men.
Okay, but you can't count the other one. So, just tell us then, how do you go about the single online dating world? What was your goal? What's your thought about it? Does it work? Is it good for you? Is it killing you? What's your take?
Well, it initially started because I was really noticing that I wasn't meeting any new people, and my friend and I had heard about a couple that had met on this dating website, and they were getting married. And so we went to their wedding reception, and we're like, what's this about then? So we decided to join the same dating website that they had met on. And so I initially approached it. It was kind of a joke, I'm going to be honest, or just to see what was going to happen.
You were testing the waters.
Yeah, I really was. I was like, who's on here? Are people like me on here my age? Is everyone a bit older? Because I'm 24, and so I'm wondering, how many younger people use it. And I was really surprised by what I found. I created my profile, answered some questions. There's some compatibility questions they have you ask, uploaded some pictures, and then just kind of sat and waited, and I was just getting messages, and
it was going off the hook.
Really? Yeah, I mean, not off the hook. I mean, I'm not the best.
You're not?
Come on. Well, okay, I'm a seasoned online dater.
You know how to get it going now.
Well, I just wish they could all hear my accent is the thing.
I'm telling you.
That would seal the deal, really.
That would totally seal the deal.
Yeah.
I love Southern accents like yours.
Yeah, from Alabama.
Tell me about, so once you started having the internet, well, I guess your email buzzing off the hook, and you're having all this success, what's your first date like? What was your first connection like?
Well, see, the thing is, I get a lot of emails and I don't always respond to them because I go and look at their profile and I look at what their interests are and things like that, and it's not always what I want to involve myself with, or I think, we're a bit too different based on what I'm looking for, and so I only email back a couple of people.
So you're picky.
Yeah, I am super picky.
And can you put that down that you're so picky? I mean, that seems like you'd lose some people.
I suppose I could write it up in there, but I have a list of my own interests, and it says on there that I want people who have similar interests. So, I mean, I do let people know that, but they still message me. And I think a lot of the time it is based on the way that I look rather than my personality or my interests. So that's why I filter them out. Okay. And I like it because I have a lot of control.
Yeah, that sounds great because you don't even have to talk to them. You just reject.
Absolutely. Whereas if they were coming up to me like in a social setting, it would be a lot more difficult, and obviously you don't want to be rude or offensive to people. You don't want to tell them to go away, but so doing the online thing makes it a lot easier for me to filter people out.
So huge advantage is it's a lot easier to just move people through.
Yep.
Are there disadvantages? What were the disadvantages you run into?
So you can talk to someone for a couple of weeks online, and then you might have a first date, and that date might go really well. This is an example. I had a first date with someone. It went really well. We had a second date, and it was really great. I really liked him. We had a lot in common.
Yeah.
And then I went back to his apartment, and it was filthily dirty.
Was it dirty?
Oh, it was disgusting.
Like bad, beyond bad.
Like I should have submitted him for a TV show to get it cleaned. Yeah.
And he never kind of alluded to the fact that he's a little dirty?
Well, he said on the first date, he was like, "Oh yeah, my apartment's a bit messy," but he was saying, "Oh, there's like to-go boxes, places." So I was just thinking, a bit untidy. Yeah. But this was filthily disgusting.
Like he'd had to-go boxes for years.
Yeah.
Those to-go boxes have gone and went.
Yeah, I actually asked him if he had mice.
Really?
Yeah, it was that bad. I was expecting to
But you were connecting with this guy before that.
Right, absolutely. And so I presented this huge dilemma because I was like, well, I have a lot in common with this this person, and we really get along well. But at the same time, I literally cannot stand to be in this apartment for longer than 5 minutes.
And you probably you like the same to-go food.
Yeah, we did. I mean, there was a lot of eating.
You just threw your empties away, your boxes away.
Yeah, I'm a tidy person, and so this was kind of a negotiable point, really.
Yeah. So right then, you just knew you were done.
Yeah, unfortunately.
How did you leave that one? I mean, to me, now there's a real breakup.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I was in the apartment and I was really honest. I was like, why is it like this?
Yeah.
Or, do you ever clean? Or and I kind of don't mince my words. I'm okay with being a bit blunt and honest. In that situation, I think it's fine. I've been taken to this place where, there is just stuff everywhere and it's dirty. I think I have the right to ask why it is this way.
Yeah.
And, I was told, it's because, I like you and that I brought you here. And there was various explanations for why it was the way that it was. And so I was like, well, I can't really be here. I feel really uncomfortable.
Sure.
And so
Well,
after that, I just fizzled out.
That's one of the issues is because, what if he wasn't in town?
Mm-hmm.
So you had dated this guy or talked to this guy or
Right.
chatted him up, talked to him, or
Mm-hmm.
he had come here first. So you never saw his place.
That's
then
true.
you make a trip back after 16 months and you're like, what the heck?
So, yeah, I mean, that would have been awful because
Yeah.
we would have all this time. But then again, I might have been a bit more invested and a bit more willing to say, like, well, maybe we can make some changes here.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks, I'm just
Well,
going
yeah,
to call
then
it
it's
a
kind
day.
of a little
Yeah.
still more disposable.
Yeah.
But so in a nutshell, you like it. Mm-hmm. There's benefits. You're still
Absolutely.
dating up a storm.
Yes.
Downside is cleanliness.
Yeah, sometimes
Just,
people
you don't know.
Yeah, people are there for a reason.
The secret. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, I guess, advice. If you had to give us one piece of advice.
Get to know someone as much as you can before you meet them, to really filter people out, and then be prepared for some surprises. Really, I think I didn't expect it, but it happened, and it's an experience that has helped me. But
Well, like how cool would it have been if a possum had jumped out of the middle of one of his piles and just started chasing you? See, that would have been a surprise that you got to be careful of. Oh, my heavens, Corrine. Seriously, good to have you on board, by the way, as one of our producers.
Thank
a
you.
female voice from Birmingham, England, Corrine Collins. Thank you so much. She is available on online dating if you are looking for Corrine. Her number is 801. No, anyway, we won't give you that. But interesting stuff. When we come back from the break, we're going to go into some success stories. We're going to give you a few more potentially scary topics or points about online dating. And then we're going to bring it home with a guest who found his wife, I believe, of like 19 plus years online. We'll be going to that after this break on the Matt Townsend Show on Sirius XM 143 BYU Radio. Welcome back, everybody, to the Matt Townsend Show. We're talking about online dating, Love Fest 2012, all online, all-you-can-eat buffet of online love on all of the great websites, online dating websites, the troubles, the benefits of online dating, and in a bit we're going to be giving you some keys, some tools for how to make sure you do it safely or for the people around you, the advice you ought to be giving your family members when they come to you and start telling you they're online dating or dating online. There's some pretty important stuff. Now, what if I told you that if you look at the statistics, 97% of the country says they never use online dating?
I took a walk around BYU campus earlier today. My question was, have you ever tried online dating? The thing that was more surprising than the no's that I received was the awkwardness that ensued.
I think it has the potential to be a good thing, but in general, it's kind of sketchy.
My cousin met a girl through an online dating source, and she was crazy.
So, would you ever do online dating?
Probably not, no.
What about you guys?
No.
Let's have this conversation about 6 years from now when I'm a lot more desperate.
Yeah.
Can you say stigma? No one wants to be that older cousin who just couldn't get a date on their own merits and had to turn to the internet to find true love. Despite the fact that internet dating is almost a couple of decades old, people still feel like meeting in person is the more normal method. We've all heard horror stories in the news about online stalkers that come through dating websites.
The internet is such a deceiving place. Even if they say like what they honestly think about themselves, that's sometimes not even right. So,
Have you ever had any friends or like heard of acquaintances who have had negative experiences with online dating?
I guess not. But I haven't had very many friends that have tried it, that I know of.
At the same time, almost everyone I talked to had a relative or friend who had tried online dating and had success.
A lot of the people in Russia, I served in Russia, they would meet their spouses through that because there weren't many saints in their one city or where they were at. And so they relied a lot on those things. And so that made more sense to me. But it also meant that they ended up dating like random European people like from France and other places. But here at BYU, I don't see as much of a need because there's...
You don't have to go online.
Options.
You just go outside, you know?
It may never be the preferred method to meet your... It may never be the preferred method to begin a relationship, but online dating is not going away. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Walkin' and Talkin' with Tom Brinton. If you enjoyed today's segment, feel free to look up my profile online.
Attaboy, Tommy. Leave it up to Walkin' and Talkin' with Tom Brinton. He, again, is another single man. Handsome as can be. Reminds me of Harry Carey, the great Cubs announcer. Incredible guy. Anyway, check him out on Facebook, Tom Brinton.
If the moon was made out of spare ribs, would you eat it?
There it is. There he is.
I would. I'd have
Harry
seconds.
Carey. We love Tommy. Good old boy. Put him back in the cage, and we'll all be okay. Good job, Thomas. Now we're going to go to the a great example of all of online dating debunked. We're going to bring on one of our producers from BYU Radio, Sean O'Neill. Sean, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm right here.
How are you, man?
Doing good.
Now, Sean found his lovely wife, Cindy. I said 19 years earlier, but it's not. It's 15, right, Sean?
15, yes.
And it didn't feel like 19, did it? It felt like
No.
15. So Sean is one of our producers. He's the producer of the morning show, and he has on BYU Radio Family Man Movie Review. But we wanted to bring Sean on to let you hear his story about online love 15 years ago. So he was an early pioneer in the online love fest. And so, Sean, tell us about that.
Well, I was living in a small town, actually, and the dating prospects weren't looking too good in this small town.
Right.
So I was working in radio. Got together with a church group one evening, and somebody decided, well, let's all put our information out online. And so
it seems like this is always done on a dare.
No, it wasn't a dare.
Is it
Actually,
just like a bunch of friends get together and you get the courage to do it?
Yeah, well, it wasn't the courage. We were actually all planning on doing it that evening.
Okay, great.
But yeah, went out on it was actually LDS singles, and put my information out there. And then I'm not sure how long it took, but I got an email from somebody who was up late one night. I happened to be up late one night doing some dishes.
Attaboy.
I don't know why I was doing dishes.
You were trying to land a lady.
So I answered the email back that came in.
And that was Cindy.
Yeah, it was Cindy.
What was her first line? What's a guy like you?
And actually, it was, we had both served LDS missions in Italy. That was part of the information that I put out there. And so she typed in some Italian, and we had kind of a connection there.
Now, Sean, isn't Italian the language of love?
Well, one of them, yes, yeah.
Did that help?
The best one, of course.
It is. Married 15 years. How many kidlets?
We have 4 kids, actually.
Are they all dating online?
No, my oldest is 13, so not yet. No,
because that would be awkward. Good point. Tell me, so there's this weird dynamic where you think you know them, but you really need to be seeing them. How did you guys meet?
Yeah.
How did you guys go face to face?
Well, actually, we just started emailing each other back and forth. This was in December of 1996, and so we just emailed back and forth. And then I was living in California at the time. She was living in Utah. So it was a long distance sort of thing. We weren't really in a relationship at that time, but it was something. I don't know if it was a relationship or not, but she she actually was managing a group, a travel group from Utah that worked in California. So she came out to visit them, and I
good.
drove down a few hours, and we actually met in person.
What was the first meeting like? That's always fun. Did you find out that
was interesting? Yes, I found out later that she had given my name and her number information, all that sort of stuff, to about 5 or 6 different people in case I was some sort of a stalker.
So you had basically had an FBI background check done.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. At least she's smart. Good work, Cindy.
Yeah, she did her homework there.
Did you find out that she's a hoarder and she has stacks and stacks of
No.
Okay.
Actually, it was kind of interesting because I worked at a classic rock radio station at the time, and we'd gotten again, when bands send out records and stuff, they send out promotional items.
Yeah.
And this band had sent out an album, and they had a chicken foot. They sent chicken feet with their albums. I don't know why they did, but I had taken one, and I put it on my rearview mirror of my car. So first date, and here's this chicken foot hanging from the rearview mirror of my car.
Yeah, sure.
But she still married me, so
Isn't that great? Yeah. Luckily, they didn't send out like a cow's hoof.
No,
because that would have been really embarrassing. And then And then you dated. How long did you date before you decided? You know what? I've just got to marry this lady.
Well, actually, we got married pretty darn quick. It was December 20th that she first emailed me, and April 26th, the next April, we got married. So it was only about 4 months.
How?
Yeah.
You guys need to slow down. Now look what it got you there, Sean.
Exactly.
A cute family. And what advice would you give? I mean, things have kind of changed in a way. There's a lot more people on right now. There's a lot of these other issues going on with scammers. And what advice would you give anybody that's out there wondering, is this a good idea?
Well, you do have to be careful. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Make sure that things are what they are. And but at some point, you do have to trust, your feelings too.
Yeah.
It's a tightrope you have to walk on some of these things.
Well, and you have a brain.
Yes.
So you don't have to just jump in. I mean, but you guys did, but it was obviously working. But a lot of people, I just think we think it's supposed to be, I guess, easier than it is. But at some point, we have to earn the relationship, build it. And tell me how it's gone for 15 years. I mean,
just
solid.
Like any relationship, we've had our ups and downs, and we fight, we make up.
Yeah.
It's a pretty normal marriage.
It is normal.
Yeah.
And
we don't see each other from long distance anymore. But
yeah. Did she finally come to Utah?
I actually came back to Utah. Yeah.
Did you? Good boy. That's good. I mean, I think when we think about it, Sean, and you tell me because you were there, what was it in your emails? What was it that was actually, what was the key? Did you guys just end up talking more on the phone? How did you end up growing this relationship long distance? Because I think that's where some people fall short too.
Well, it was cheaper to do email than phone actually. So we pretty much stayed on the email.
Did you?
Which we've kept all those emails actually. We have those.
Do you? And you're a communicator, so it probably was an easy way for you.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. But I don't know. It was just something that clicked. I mean, and obviously it clicked pretty quickly too. But it was it just felt right.
What did the family say when you said, "Hey, we're getting married in April"?
They would.
Had you already met her family?
I only met her family about a month before we got married. We actually took a trip out to Chicago to meet them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys were living on the edge because that was just full of risk. But it probably increased the excitement and the fun of it all too.
It did. There were. I made the mistake of calling our wedding a fiasco at one point, but that was.
Well, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to forget that one for some reason.
Yeah, I'm sure she hasn't either. That's interesting. Wow, Sean, I think that's great. And kids are healthy and happy, right?
Oh yeah, everything. It's really good.
You got your teeth fixed today, and you're feeling pretty good.
That's actually happening tomorrow. I just went to the dentist today and got referred to a oral surgeon that I have to go see tomorrow. So,
well, at least you have Cindy to help you through it.
Yes.
See, 15 years ago, if you had not done that, you would probably be in a really dirty, filthy apartment somewhere on Salt Lake's west side, and you would be having to get a taxi ride all by yourself to get your teeth done.
That's possible.
Gosh, you're a lucky man, Sean. Sean, we appreciate you. Sean O'Neill, producer from The Morning Show. Appreciate you. Thanks, Cindy, for letting us talk about her as well.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Good stuff. See, it can work. Love is good. Hello. You've heard of Sean O'Neill and Cindy O'Neill, and you've heard of Kip and LaFonda from Napoleon Dynamite. There are good examples, and again, I think it's great, and I think we're just all a little afraid of it because it's so different to us, it's so new to us. But I also just think it's the new thing. I mean, it's where else are you supposed to meet some people? So my parents divorced. My mom was single. And you know what? She didn't have anywhere to go meet someone. She doesn't drink, so she doesn't go to bars and hang out. And if they weren't at her church group or, if they weren't at the racquetball gym when she'd go play racquetball with her friends, where on earth are you supposed to meet them? And then with the busy schedules of today, I think we're all kind of finding it harder and harder to connect up with other people, and maybe easier and easier to just go home to our technology that's always warm and cozy and never talks back, and you can just unplug it and turn it off. Sadly, though, remember, relationships are about two people connecting, and at some point we've got to build the relationship, not just have a conversation online. When we come back from this break, we are going to get into that. How do you build a healthy, happy, safe online relationship? We're going to give you a bunch of tips and tools. Remember, you listen to the Matt Townsend Show, the handbook for humanity, helping you through it one day at a time, right here on Sirius XM 143 BYU Radio. Welcome back, everybody. Boom, boom, to the Matt Townsend Show. We're talking about online dating, how to do it safely, how to maneuver through, how to find your 15-year love, as we just talked about. And as you've known people, as you think about this, who have dated online, or even if yourself, if you've tried a little online dating, a big problem, it's like a Pandora's box, right? And in person, it's a bit easier to judge someone. If you're in front of them, face-to-face, you can kind of see who they are. But online, it's just the photos and the text on the screen. It really becomes more of a facade. But a day comes, right, when you're going to finally meet this person, and the web is filled with real-life horror stories about the first date. Check these out.
A couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. Girl does not order French fries, says she really doesn't like them. Guy walks out. A couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. Girl admits she works during the day as a prison guard. Orders $75 worth of food but doesn't touch it because she's pretty sure the food's contaminated. Couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. Going well. Conversation turns to future plans where she discusses her career ambitions. He discusses the number of dogs he someday plans to own, including their names, what their breed will be, the number of dogs, which, by the way, is 30. The couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. As they eat, the girl can't get a word in because he is too busy bragging about the musical he's writing about raccoons.
Dear sweet raccoon of mine.
Programming language C#, and using salt and pepper shakers to explain the mechanics of the board game Othello. A couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. Guy sees the girl wearing a shirt that says Trogdor, the Burninator.
Burninator.
She spends the entire time shouting out internet memes, unprompted. A couple meet for the first time at a restaurant. After the date, the girl went home and decided to follow the guy on Twitter, cruelly replying with snarky comments to everything he wrote. Couple meets for the first time at a restaurant. Guy is pleased to discover everything she has said about herself is true, except the fact she's 8.5 months pregnant. And finally, a couple meet for the first time before going out to a restaurant. Guy promises to treat a girl right.
It is Swedish meatballs from IKEA. This one is a great consistency coming right out of the microwave.
Oh, man. Can you imagine? 8.5 months pregnant. Hello. So good to meet you and yours. How funny is that? Oh, man, that was Rob Sanders reporting. Oh, online dating. It's fun. It's full of excitement. It's a new experience, a new party around every corner. Now, what makes it so difficult? A bunch of issues. Let's think about them really quickly, okay? Communication, right? So here you are communicating across the country. If 70% of communication is nonverbal, for example, rolling eyes, facial expressions, and you're living 700 miles apart, you're missing a big part of your communication. Right now, it's different maybe on the phone, but still, you're still missing the eye rolls and all those other things. 2, once married, the primary method of communication is no longer utilized. That's a problem with the online model, is that eventually my rule is get offline and start talking. That is going to be one of the more primary methods of communication for most couples, not necessarily texting or emailing each other. Self-censoring, another thing we all do. Every single human being when we're dating, we all self-censor. We never tell everybody everything about us. We like to save some surprises, like the little bun in the oven. We don't want everyone to know we got a bun in the oven before we show up for the online date. And so, and think of just how sad that is for this lady, because she so wants to go on a date, and she is pregnant. But you know what? She probably still ought to disclose it. Just tough stuff. These are the hard decisions of the online dating world, right? Another problem might be the shorter dating cycle, right? I mean, even like Sean O'Neill's story, 4.5 months or so. We just, for some reason, tend to speed it up. About 2.5 times faster we get married online than we normally would. How about just fewer potential commonalities? A lot of times just because one of the big online programs says that you're going to be a perfect match doesn't mean you always are. And so not having commonalities, the research shows just having similarities, similar faiths, similar belief set, similar history, similar friends. I dated my wife in high school. And we have all of the same friends. So if I blew it and messed up our life and my marriage and everything, I would lose literally everything I know. In fact, my family would disown me, and I'd just be done. So the fewer commonalities, unsubstantiated trust, a lot of the trust that's built online. And by the way, in any initial relationship, we have a lot of levels of high trust towards somebody without really even knowing who they are. And a lot of times that gets broken. Online, it may even be unsubstantiated. See, the neat thing about just being able to, like Corrine was talking about on the show earlier, she could just drop in and see his place. Being able to see his place substantiates what we've been talking about. You know, being able to say, if he says he's a really good cook, you'll know that, by the 5th date or whatever. You'll be able to figure that out. Some of the people just have issues with it smacking of online shopping. Like you're out just buying your partner, you're buying your spouse, which isn't necessarily true either. The faster progression. So here's some rules for you, okay? If you're going to get online, I personally, as a relationship coach, I've seen it change the lives of a lot of people. So I don't know that I'd necessarily be totally afraid of it, but I would be careful. I would think safety. My basic belief is you got to check the fish, right? So when you're getting a fish, you're ordering fish, check the fish. One of my favorite meals ever was swordfish until my brother-in-law came up to me and said, "Oh, you do not want to eat swordfish." And I'm like, "Why?" And he says, "Have you ever cut a swordfish open?" And I'm like, "No, but I guess it just ain't ideal." And so one of the things I've realized in life is just because it looks like a fish and swims like a fish, check it out. Make sure you're careful about it, you talk about it, you find out as much as you can. Think safety, minimize as much information you can at first, protect your identity, try to be more anonymous as you can. This is kind of on all online. Be realistic. Okay, there is a reason that you're dating online, and just for the ease or whatever reason you're choosing, but be a little skeptical because there's other reasons why people are dating online. There might be a reason, so you might have a little higher tendency to find people with other issues, maybe social issues or other problems like that. Not that you need to reject them. We've all got some issue, and yet at the same time, be a little realistic. People are not always going to be who they say they are, right? Try to gather as much data as you can. And some other rules I would say is don't be desperate. The biggest mistakes I've seen in any dating is when somebody is just too desperate. The rule of relationships says whoever cares the least has the most power. And so whoever's the most desperate has the least power. And I might just try to, maintain yourself, make sure you know what you want out of life. Don't be desperate. Slow down the online dating. No need to speed it up, but you can talk more. I'd make sure you have multiple visits. I'm a big believer that if you are going to end up marrying, before you marry, you need to live near each other. You need to be able to drop in. You need to spend many months, even a year, in the same city as the person. You need to see what your life's going to really be like. You need to get to know their friends, their family. There's so much information you can learn about somebody just by attending church with them. Just go find out what everyone in the pews is talking about when they talk about this person you're dating online. Gather information. I'd keep copies of all your correspondence like Sean O'Neill did. I'd ask for more than one photo. If they're only one photo fill, you know what? Don't trust it. Don't trust one photo fill. There's got to be more photos. If they have children, I'd look into that. You want to make sure they're a good parent, they're a good dad, or mom, they're taking care of you. Set up a first date or so. Those dates usually should be done in public, right? Where in a very public place, bring your own friend, bring a car, have somebody there maybe as backup, do a double date. I do it at lunch. Lunches work great that way. It's a great busy time of day. Allow some space and time between your dates so that your brain can catch up. We don't need to date every day for the next 6 weeks. Maybe just slow it down. Let your brain slow down and assimilate some of the data. And in any way, what I would do is I would make sure you find the peace. There should be a peace that accompanies any big decision you make, like who you're going to marry, who you're dating. If you're not feeling the peace, and if you don't feel like you are the best person you can be with the person that you're dating, then you know what? They're not for you. Sorry, they may be convenient, they may even be there, but if you don't feel the peace, then guess what? Then you're not going to feel the long-term love. That's the idea for today, folks. Online dating, it's not evil, it's just part of life. For more information, we'll be here every single week, every single day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Matt Townsend Show, helping you lift your life a little higher on Sirius XM 143 BYU Radio.